Jorge La Sierva is a former bantamweight title holder. With his father, Jorge Sr., and his son Alexis, he trains aspiring fighters in this gym in the Santa Anita neighborhood of Mexico City. He knows that these young men, like generations of boxers everywhere from other neighborhoods like this, are looking for a way out.
In Mexico City, boxing is kind of like save your life. You know what I mean? Boxing, they give you like a little discipline.
Let's say you're good, but you're not that good. Can you make a living just being a contender?
No, but a lot of fighters, they try to make it. Tons of boxers, they want to be a champion.
So everybody wants to be a champion?
Everybody. Everybody wants to get for the big shot, but you know, it's just one.
Those are bad odds. The history of boxing is not kind. I mean, most managers and promoters, they don't really give a shit about the fighters.
They don't.
They use them up, but at the end, they leave a guy all broken down, no money, and scrambled brains.
We just like a prostitutes. You know what I mean?
In this area, what are your options if you drop out of high school?
Nothing. It's just like being on the street, snatching, you know, robbing, and a lot of kids in the hood, they're gonna say, hey, let's go kidnap that guy.
Big industry.
Everybody here now wants to be a soccer player or a boxer because they make money here.
Who's got a longer career, a narco or a boxer?
I don't know. Might be 50-50. I mean, narco, you can last longer.
You can.
You know, you're protected by the police. You just paid off. Nobody's gonna touch you.
Expensive protein shakes and dietary supplements? Not so much. Boxers here eat what they can afford.
The food here is good and it's cheap. You know, in Mexico, there's no middle class here.
You're either poor or you're really, really rich.
I mean, it's a crazy thing. The minimum wage here is like 50, 60 pesos, which is like a $5. Not an hour, a day.
But on the other hand, that's why Mexican fighters are so exciting. They're hungry.
Exactly. We're hungry.
Y México 72, en vivo.
Tepito is a city within a city. Its own thing. Either the dark center or the beating heart of Mexico City, depending on your point of view. It's the home of Santa Muerte, the skeletal Saint Death. This is where they come. The impoverished, the oppressed, the marginalized, the criminal. People for whom the traditional church has less relevancy. For the unforgiven and the unforgivable. For those on whom the Catholic saints have turned their backs, there is Santa Muerte. This is a place, and Santa Muerte is a saint that accepts everybody. Death to my enemies written on a votive candle. Let's face it, we've all prayed for that at one point or another. The rich get richer, the poor get ground slowly under the wheel. Eduardo Garcia has hacked his way up the ladder to become chef, owner of the city's hottest restaurant.
I grew up in the States. I was a migrant worker picking fruits and vegetables as a kid. My parents didn't earn a lot of money, so I decided to work rather than go to school.
The restaurant business, as I well know, ain't no picnic. And in Mexico City, it's particularly rough.
Mexico has a reputation where we all know that the country is run by corrupt politics. You have to stand up for what you believe. If you don't, people will run you over. You won't last a minute. I don't let people bully me around.
Garcia runs Maximo Bistro with his wife, Gabriela. Here's the kind of extra helping of crap you gotta deal with if you run the hottest restaurant in Mexico City. In 2013, the spoiled daughter of the head of Mexico's Consumer Protection Agency walks in and demands a table when there's, unsurprisingly, no table available. When Garcia says, sorry, no can do, she pulls a you know who I am and then calls daddy and gets the health inspectors in to shut the place down. So your other customers basically started taking pictures of them with their cell phones?
Next thing you know, we have the media outside, and this is Friday.
Right.
Sunday morning, we're front page of one of the most important newspapers in Mexico.
Well, it was very embarrassing to the government.
And it should be.
Because they got caught doing what they do all the time. But if you were not the hottest restaurant in town, if you were just running a cantina, you know, a few blocks away,
I would have been.
they would have closed you down, and that's that. Right now, a defiant, young, creative generation of Mexican chefs like Eduardo are performing some of the most exciting new cooking anywhere on earth. A mixing of the very old and traditional with the very new. So you went to Bourdain?
As a kid, yes. One of the jokes throughout the whole time that I worked is, how old are you? I'm 18. You've been 18 for 3 years. Those are abalone from Baja. Yeah, I told you I love butter. I use it even for some Mexican dishes, and then just some roasted chile serrano just to give it a nice little kick for me.
They're finished with lemon and, of course, brown butter. Beautiful. Very delicious. Very Mexican, very French. Brown butter, it's awesome. Makes everything better.
Of course. I think the most important thing about Mexican cuisine in general, if it's traditional, it's the ingredients.
Confit of suckling pig topped with grandma's salsa. An instant classic.
How about it? No, you do it like the Mexican way. Pick it up and go.
Wow. Pretty hard to imagine anything better than that. Yeah, you're stuck with this dish forever, man.
Forever.
And I'm gonna be like Mick Jagger, you know, 50 years from now singing Satisfaction. There's no getting away from it, man. This is so good. This is a classic. But even now, with all his success, Garcia is still fighting a struggle most Mexicans are all too familiar with.
What happened that day happens every day. And the promise always is, we're gonna shut you down, you don't know who I am. And for me, I'd rather close my restaurant than live like that. If you close my restaurant, I will go across the street, I will go to another state, or I will go to another country, and I still will make a good restaurant.
Under former President Felipe Calderón, Mexico launched a concerted war on drugs, ostensibly against the notorious and seemingly untouchable cartels. Absolutely no one can say with any credibility, by the way, that Mexico's war, or our trillion-dollar war,
Just say no.
has had any effect in diminishing the flow of drugs into our country. One very brave journalist has uncovered exactly how deep the rot of corruption and dirty money has penetrated into every level of Mexican institutions.
My grandmother is from Oaxaca, so how we used to drink the mezcal is never with lemon, it's with orange.
It was not what a lot of people wanted to hear, much less see published. Today, Anabel Hernandez, author of the groundbreaking expose Los Señores del Narco, lives under guard in a secret location. The threat, very, very real and very explicit. Do you think there was ever a minute when the Calderón war on drugs, was it ever genuine?
No. Who really started the war against the drug cartels was Vicente Fox. Felipe Calderón just followed that instruction, but he didn't really do anything new. He just did it worse. Since the beginning, the plan of the government was protect the Sinaloa cartel and fight against the enemies of the Sinaloa cartel.
Of the 7 major Mexican cartels, the Sinaloa cartel is considered the most powerful. with the farthest reaching and most pervasive tentacles extending deep into every corner of government, banking, and private industry. Its rivals, the Tijuana cartel, the Gulf cartel, the Juarez cartel, the Beltran-Leyva, La Familia Michoacana, and the particularly murderous Los Zetas. The cartels are responsible for importing roughly 3/4 of all illegal narcotics to America. In your work, you've uncovered what had to be some very embarrassing and incriminating associations and connections between very high elected officials, the presidents, and entire administrations, and acts of incredible criminality. How did that change your life?
Well, when I started to make this investigation on 2005, and I really understand that it will be very dangerous. I have to say that it wasn't really a surprise for me what happened after I published my book. What I didn't expect is that the threats came from the federal government.
Anabel says that one of her sources warned her that the biggest threat was from within, that one of the most highly placed, most senior law enforcement officials in Mexico had ordered her killed.
Because in my book, I put his name and also show some documents that proves that he was involved. He was in the payroll of the Sinaloa cartel.
What happened to this man?
Right now, he's very happy, drinking rum, I think, building many enterprises, fake enterprises, laundering his money.
To me, the weak link are the bankers. A banker who launders money. He's got a family, he's got a reputation, he gives money to charity, his neighbors think he's great, his kids think he's wonderful. He's got something to lose. So I wouldn't be prosecuting drug dealers, I'd be prosecuting bankers.
The name of my book is Los Señores del Narco, because Los Señores del Narco are not only El Chapo Guzmán and the leaders of these cartels, no! Los Señores del Narco are also these, the politicians and bankers and the businessmen. The people have to know who are these people, name by name.
You've been a journalist for how long? Since
20 years.
20 years. Your father was killed, kidnapped and killed in 2000?
My father was a businessman. In that year, many gangs used to kidnap the businessman just for money. So when we went to the police and asked them to investigate, they said, well, if you pay us, we will make the investigation. So as family, we decide to pay because you cannot buy the justice. Since that, I really try to fight against corruption. That's why I'm doing what I do. Because I think that corruption is the worst problem in Mexico. The drug cartels are maybe the worst face of that problem, but the problem in the deep is the corruption. The corruption is the mother of all our problems in Mexico.
It should be pointed out that 88 journalists, how many journalists have been killed in this country?
90 now.
90 journalists
Yes.
now have been killed or disappeared over the last few years.
Yeah.
Here, you could kill a journalist and get away with it. Why are you still here?
I have lost many things in my life. My father was the most important person in my life. I already lost everything. I don't have any life anymore. I don't have a social life. I don't have a sentimental life. I don't have anything. I just have my work and my family. And my work of journalist is everything for me. I really believe that good journalists can change the world. I have received many offers to go outside to France, to Sweden, and other countries. I don't want to leave. It's my choice. My choice is fight.
The quiet little town of Teotitlán del Valle is about 15 miles outside of Oaxaca. a town where the arts, crafts, and traditions of the pre-Hispanic Mexico are celebrated and packaged for consumption. Abigail Mendoza and her sister Rufina are Zapotecan, original people from Mexico before the Spanish, before the Aztecs. This is her restaurant, where Abigail has been grinding corn by hand, making masa and moles like this, the ridiculously faithful, time-consuming, difficult, traditional way she was taught to make these things, and the way she's been making them since she was 6 years old. Look at her hands, by the way. Small, surprisingly delicate, given all the hard work, all the pushing, kneading, grinding, stone against stone over the years. Then look at her forearms, the power there. It's impressive and beautiful.
Yeah.
Every time you enter a house in Oaxaca, especially in the small villages, they always offer you a shot of mezcal.
So good. Següesa, a mole and chicken dish. This mole sauce, like a lot of the real old-school moles made by masters like Abigail, uses 35 different types of chile peppers and takes more than 2 weeks to make. Do you think that until recently, until guys like you, that Mexicans were not looking back at their own food culture, they were looking elsewhere? What was going on?
We were conquered. We were also a culture that was conquered first by the Aztecs, and then we were conquered by the Spaniards. So we were always told that everything that was good and excellent has to be imported.
Right.
And what we had here, it was just not good.
Right. Another Zapotecan classic, chile agua, a simpler dish of cow and pork brains cooked with chilies, tomatoes, and yerba santa.
As a cook, the main thing I learned was to develop a little bit my cuisine here. There was this space where nobody tried to innovate. Still using the same techniques, the same ingredients, the same flavors, herbs, etc. But, developing a little bit. Muchas gracias. Muy amable, gracias.
También muy prehispánico.
I mean, that's as old school as it gets. This is super ancient.
A finer dish than this one you cannot have. This is something that you do not find anywhere else in Mexico.
A quiet night in the Zócalo, the central square of Oaxaca. But even tonight, there's plenty of evidence of the struggle, the discontent boiling just under the surface. The graffiti and painting of this street artist, who goes by the name Yesca, captures that spirit of Oaxacan protest. The Last Supper, for sure.
It's a Last Supper, but Mexican Last Supper.
Who are these people?
It's the most powerful people in Mexico, people that is driving Mexico. This is Peña Nieto, the president right now. Mm-hmm. This is Felipe Calderón,
right.
the last president.
The last president.
And that guy is like the economy guy,
right,
who is moving the economy in Mexico. And this is the army. This is a prostitute. It's represent because they are like prostitutes.
Right.
You know?
And
in middle is the narco traffic.
The middle.
Yeah, he's like the god in Mexico, you know? Because he is like over.
All of it.
Yeah.
So this is the way Mexico works.
Yeah. For me, the most problem in Mexico is the corruption.
Mexico can be a dangerous place for journalists, for politicians, for police. Is it a dangerous place for artists?
Yeah, I think so, yeah, because if you not agree with the government,
right,
you're like enemy.
In 1936, the town of Cuernavaca, 50 miles from Mexico City, was visited by Malcolm Lowry, a tormented, self-loathing, brilliant, and hopelessly alcoholic author. His life work, Under the Volcano, was set here. It is widely believed to be one of the great novels of the 20th century. Lowry saw symbolism and evil everywhere here. In the deep barrancas, the looming volcano that towered overhead. Writer, poet Javier Cecilia, one of Cuernavaca's most celebrated residents, has reason to see evil too. On March 28, 2011, narcos kidnapped and murdered his son, Juan Francisco, and 6 other equally blameless innocent victims. Cecilia found himself moved to march to Mexico City to demand an end to the increasingly futile so-called war on drugs that was mindlessly grinding up so many victims in the crossfire and in the margins. In Under the Volcano, the evil that's coming is fascism, Nazism. What is the heart of the infernal machine today?
Una nueva forma del totalitarismo, que es el dinero y la disputa de los territorios para controlar el dinero, tanto por parte del Estado como por parte del crimen organizado, que casi son lo mismo en mi país.
What does he want to say? What does he want people to hear?
¿Qué es lo que quieres que la gente oiga?
Necesitamos detener esta guerra. Es una guerra que nos está matando hijos, hijas, que nos está haciendo perder la democracia, que tiene al país balcanizado y roto, que necesitamos encontrar la paz y la justicia que no tiene este país.
Can he think of one place on earth where the good guys are winning and where you are not ground under the wheels of the machine?
Donde la gente pone por encima la vida humana y la relacionalidad amorosa, ahí está una sociedad, ahí está en el centro del horror, la vida y la paz. Donde hay unos seres que se niegan a aceptar la muerte, se niegan a aceptar que se sigan matando, que sigan arrojando cuerpos en las calles decapitados, donde hay una sociedad que puede decir, está el ser humano por encima de cualquier cosa, ahí está la vida, ahí hay un buen lugar.
Have you written a poem since the death of your son?
No, escribí un último poema cuando supe del asesinato de Juan Francisco, de mi hijo, y con ese cerré mi actividad como poeta que escribe poemas.
As I have come to know in my own life, drugs, even drug addiction, can be a survivable event. Death is not. Death is final.